Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We are at episode 865, April 22, 2026. This is being recorded. I can barely speak. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom and Lucid.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Spromberg. Thanks for tuning in. And we're not sure why you're here, but we're glad you are.
I'm glad you are too. I'm Kent Burgess. Except for you, that one guy, you. Yeah, you. We don't want you here.
No, they're not listening anyway. I hope. But hey, I'm glad all of you are here. There's kind of some weird energy in the air, which is a continuation of last week's.
I think it's contagious.
Energy. Yeah.
It's almost viral.
Yeah. Yeah, great intro. I feel like we should redo it. We're just going to go with it. Mm-hmm. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. You can go to patreon.com/PCPer. That's the letters PCPer, and become a patron of the arts, the fine arts that are PC Perspective, because somehow this is art.
You know, your black shirt and your steepled hands was really throwing a lot of Steve Jobs at me right there for a moment.
It's not Piss Christ, but it's close.
Yeah.
You know, I just never know.
That hasn't aged well, I hear.
We're the Robert Mapplethorpe of tech podcasts. If
I just want to be the John C. Dvorak of tech.
Brilliant, but nobody knows who we are.
Sure.
Brilliant.
Plus, we're all going to die of an STD, so...
Okay. Whatever. I think a lot of this is going to get cut. Yeah, a lot of this is going to be cut.
Hey, it's just honesty.
Somebody asked last week in the comments on the live stream, like, hey, where did such and such segment go? I'm like, it's cutting room floor. No hesitation there.
Yeah, that's why you watch the live show. That's it. This is it. One and done. Except for the when we redo it.
That's the second week in a row with a ka-chow. All right. So do we have any news on the Patreon front?
We do. I went and grabbed a comment from Steve. I'm not going to embarrass Steve with his last name, but Josh, Jobs? No, not Steve Jobs. Oh. Steve joined you in Burger King, Josh. He just wanted to say, hey, grabbed a BK. I'm with Josh today. So I just wanted to relay that to you live. Just a reaction.
In spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. Me. And an actual money in the pot Patreon member, Fishsticks. Really appreciating the Fishsticks. Josh, I don't think you've ever had Fishsticks for your food of the week.
He doesn't like to brag about it, but he likes them.
Not like the Kanye West Fishsticks type. No.
Yeah, not like that at all. And I don't like with the patrons not coming from that way at all. They're just
seafood just doesn't agree with me, and so I avoid it like the plague.
I'm thinking more of the old school Vandy Camps commercial for this. You
can only smear so much tartar sauce on stuff before
you realize it's still Captain Hindgrinder.
Yeah, it's oh dear.
Wow, that could be taken out of context super easily.
You know who had good fish tacos was Buffalo Wild Wings back in the day. And all they really did was put a couple of fish sticks in a tortilla with lettuce and cheese. But it was good. I enjoyed them. And they took them off the menu.
I mean, you were 10 years old, so yeah.
Close.
I watched one of Alton Brown's new YouTube shows, Alton Brown Cooks Food, where he was making fish sticks. And he talked about the origins of fish sticks as a dish. And it makes me never, ever, ever want to buy frozen fish sticks again.
But what if you buy the ones that promise that they're made from real top quality fish fillets and not just byproducts?
You mean Long John Silver's?
You mean the liars?
Microsoft promised that Windows 10 would be our last Windows ever, and Google promised to not track us and do no evil. Are those the promises you're talking about?
If you think about it, Windows 11 is just branding for Windows as a service. Because, like, for example, this laptop here that I use for when we cut away to a screen, it's trying to force me to do an update right now. as we speak.
That's nice.
So I just have to like try to schedule it for later.
You've
But
had
yeah,
a week.
it's
Put this ball gag in for a few minutes.
it is Windows as a service.
You
It
never
wants
know
to be
what Josh is
offline.
going to say. You never do.
You're actually going to have to buy that ball gag, and it's going to have to be from the Microsoft Store. And yes, it will cost you, but it is mandatory, and it's got Copilot in it.
For a tech podcast, I realize that there isn't really enough fish sticks in this tech podcast as we've had
Are
tonight.
you sure?
We should occasionally have more fish sticks. I've just come to that realization. Just want to get that out there.
I don't live in Europe. What are you saying? Anyway, I had a biology teacher. It's like, the other day I went to McDonald's and I ordered the fillet of fish, and just for grins, I decided to start taking the fillet apart, kind of layer by layer, because you know how flaky it is. And he's like, I only found 3 type of parasitic worms that were in there, but of course, they're parasitic worms that are deep fried at 450 degrees. Yeah. So
they're delicious.
Those are going to be fine.
Yeah, extra protein.
Extra protein.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Josh, speaking of disgusting things that you can put in your body, what did you have for lunch today?
You know what? I had the naughty. I took a picture of the menu entry. It looked so good, and then I received it. And not only that, but I took the day off, the afternoon off from work. I worked this morning, and then I thought, you know what? I've worked a lot in the last 2 years, where I've given away over 120 hours of vacation. And so I was like, you know what? Damn it. I'm going to take this afternoon off, and I'm going to go to Born & Barn with my son. And we got the naughty. And I mean, look at that. It's so much better at the restaurant than at takeout. Takeout, they like mush it, put it in the foil. No, it's got the chipotle ketchup. It's got the jalapenos. The American cheese came out great. Bacon, and then a 7-ounce, locally sourced beef patty. It was, And the bun was
like
nice.
Upgraded the trays while they were closed.
No, same trays. No, same ones. Same paper. That checkerboard
paper's
pattern
the same for sure.
Yeah, man, the fries were like the beer battered fries, and they were okay. They weren't seasoned as well as maybe they should have been, but boy, overall, it was a filling, outstanding meal. So, hey, I even had a beer. Middle of the day. First one I've had in, gosh, maybe a year. I just don't drink in the afternoon. I save that for night when my wife can hear me snore drunkenly.
And he hasn't stopped drinking since.
No.
Consistency.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But you know what's best about all of this? We don't have any financials, so I don't have to talk very much.
No, you're going to want to, though. We have some hot, juicy stories this week. Moving to the news portion of our podcast, and the Ryzen 9 9950X 3D2 has been reviewed as of yesterday. It's available as of today, at least to order. We'll talk about that shortly. It is, of course, the new flagship for AM5, the dual edition, the chosen one, $900. And I don't know if you follow Gamers Nexus at all, but he had a somewhat strongly worded video about why Gamers Nexus wasn't sampled. He thinks they're being blacklisted. But if you look at the list here, this is it. This is the entire list. Video Cards always does a review roundup, and it's usually much longer than this. U.S. reviewers were Phoronix, Level 1 Techs, and Hot Hardware. Gerbauer got one, Club 386, and Kit Guru. Just a couple more, Sweetclockers. Asus did a video, so that apparently counts. But there's no Linus Tech Tips. There's no Gamers Nexus. There's no Tech Power Up.
PC Perspective.
No PC Perspective. I wasn't even. The thing is that we weren't briefed on it either. So if you weren't getting a sample, I guess you weren't even invited to the briefing. That's what Steve at Gamers Nexus was talking about. Is that they got no information in advance.
Hey, Steve.
So the interesting thing to me about this is, well, obviously, Phoronix tests on Linux, and Level 1 Techs, I mean, Wendell's very much a Linux guy. So I wonder if some of this was just, hey, what's your approach going to be? How are you going to cover this? Can we count on you to cover it in a certain way, kind of selectivity?
Can we
with
do
root
something
examples?
so you could possibly ignore Windows and the game bar?
Right.
Okay. You use Linux. Perfect.
Oh, sure.
Do you remember when the 3990, whatever it was, came out and it was the world's first like 64 core processor? Windows didn't even know how to handle it. And the best performance was on Linux. And they were being very careful back then about how it was reviewed. I borrowed one from Falcon Northwest to do a review, but I don't know how well I did. But here we are at Phoronix. They're testing it under Linux, and like Linux kernel compilation, it's the fastest they've ever tested. You've got some of the other stuff. I was looking at the video encoding performance was very impressive. It is a very, very fast processor for these types of applications, these Linux developer and creator type applications. I don't think it's going to be that impressive in gaming benchmarks, which is probably why we weren't sampled.
Guess what? It wasn't.
Yeah. It was, Gerbauer did some gaming testing on his, and it was essentially performance-wise identical to the 9950 X3D non-by2, but it used more power. So same performance, more power.
Yeah, I had heard that the PPT was going to be closer to 250 watts. I'll have to watch. I haven't watched the Gerbauer video yet because the TDP is 200, but it can, the performance power target is much higher typically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I looked at Kit Guru's and Guru 3D. Yeah, our good old friend who's still around. Hilbert. So yeah, Yep, that's the one. So yeah, it costs essentially twice as much, if not more, and consumes a hell of a lot more power and doesn't game any better. If you tweak it and play with PBO and stuff, you can maybe get a 3 or 4% boost over the existing part, and that's it, the non-X2.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. And then I think that KitGuru might have gotten in trouble because they pulled out a relatively modern Threadripper to compare the 950 X3D D2 to. It did not go well at all.
Really?
Really, like significantly slower. Something that the Threadripper will do in maybe 8 minutes. The 3D X2 was doing in just about an hour.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
Something's wrong here. And there could be scheduler issues, who knows, but I think
I'm sure there are.
What was the operating system?
Yeah, if on Linux there's great performance and then people are having spotty, questionable stuff happening on Windows, I think you know why.
Yes,
but
there's no question about that.
It could also be that there's just too much latency and there's no real world benefit to having two of these 3D cache CCDs.
I'm not willing to throw a lot of malice at them over the restrictive policies regarding who tested it, because it's clearly not really designed to be like another gaming CPU. It's designed to be more of a workstation, even though it doesn't hold up necessarily to the Threadripper. That I didn't know. But yeah, that's not the target audience. So it would have compared relatively poorly in those benchmarks, or, for the money anyway. Yeah. I can understand it.
Even though it has two of the 3D caches, inner CCD latency is still definitely a thing. So it's still, even though you've got more cache there, it still takes a lot of time as compared to the cache on top of the CCD to get to the other compute unit that is actually doing the work, or whichever CPU is handling those threads. So yeah, it's a neat idea, and in some things it's going to be working gangbusters, but you've really got to develop very specifically for it to do good in everything. I mean, monolithic CPUs for the win. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. It's neat. They proved they could do it. And it could well lead to new interesting things in a generation or two. But just the ability to pull this off impresses me. Regardless of how well Windows handles it, this is just, wow. You slap together two 3D V caches on the same bloody chip.
You could say the same thing about Bulldozer. Wow, they pulled it off. They
It did.
This product.
It impressed me and disappointed me at the same time.
I just feel
one of the interesting things in DeBauer's video, and DeBauer is one of the few people I think that has been able to get away with, bringing up different lines of products, different brands. But because of his reputation in the community, I've never heard anyone call him a shill, except for Thermal Grizzly, which is his company. So he can shill all he wants with that. He does shill for his own
company, but he gets samples because he has to prototype new blocks and stuff. He's not beholden to these companies for samples necessarily.
He repeatedly, in his review of the X3D by 2, brought up the performance against the 270K, the Intel 270K.
Interesting.
Which it was faster than the 270K, but not by a whole lot. And it was 3 times the price. And he kept bringing that up. He was really impressed with the 270K. But yeah, it was just interesting to see that it's like, things have switched from where they were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was like, yeah, Intel is faster, but AMD's not far behind, and it's much cheaper. And here we flipped.
I was just showing on the screen a minute ago, Club 386, their review. This is kind of, I think, what they were trying to avoid. They get this $900 sample, they test it, they give it 3 out of 5 stars, and say, more cash, minor gains, less value. That's the takeaway. So how many $900 samples do you want to send out for this?
I mean, just building one of these things, one, you've got to have really high yield CCDs. You got to have good yield on the 3D cache, that they're not pulling excess power as compared to other chips. And you got to slap them both together. And, AMD still has not done deep dives in Infinity Fabric.
No.
And so it's kind of interesting to see this versus, one of the EPYC processors or the true Threadrippers, which have a different I/O chip that handles a lot of those connections and whatnot. And they don't ever talk about the difference between the consumer and the EPYC on the server and the Threadripper. But it's I wish they would, but they just avoid that, kind of like the plague. And I've talked to other people around the industry, and I was like, well, I've seen very little documentation on what Infinity Fabric actually does. Now, it would be interesting if they did that. What was that CPU that came out? It was one of the mobile parts that had the big fan out, super low latency, but a bunch of pins instead of having SerDes. It's essentially direct connections, but it makes the substrate a lot more complex. That would have been something big for this, but of course they're not going to do it because it's still AM5, and I don't know the costs involved in such a thing and what they'd have to change.
Are you suggesting adding Infinity Fabric to a motherboard might have an impact on the price?
I think he's suggesting AM4 might be a cheaper alternative, right, Sebastian?
Well, yes.
Yes, but we will get to that.
I said none of these things. None of those. Infinity Fabric is not on the motherboard. It's all PCI.
No, it's in the chip. Yes.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Let's move on. Let's move on to more 9950X3D2 coverage just briefly because Alienware, they'd sent me an email a few days ago that this was coming, that they were going to be first to market with the Ryzen 9 9950X3D2, and they were true to their word because you can go right now to Dell's website and configure yourself an Area 51 with a 9950X3D2, and the other hardware is actually kind of ridiculous. First of all, this is over $7,000. Bear that in mind.
Actually, that's less than I was expecting.
When you hear the specs, we're talking a 5090, 64 gigabytes of DDR5 of 6400 megatransfer variety, a 4 terabyte Gen 5 NVMe drive. This has a 80 plus platinum 1500 watt power supply, 360 millimeter AIO. So it's a very impressive configuration. It is $7,049. But hey, you can order it, and I'd get it by May 6th if I ordered now.
I honestly figured it'd be over 10 grand.
I want mine with those really awesome smoke effects.
I know.
It's
cool. Showing you the cooling. Because
I mean, what does a retail 5090 go for now? $4,900,
$4,000, yeah. When you think it would cost you at least $3,000 to get a 5090, it's $900 to get the CPU. That much DDR5 6400 would probably be $800.
A kidney and most of your liver and a leg.
Yeah.
And the 4 terabyte Gen 5 drive of any type is probably going to be another $600. So, I mean, it starts to look good. And then the power supply, that's like a $300 or $400 power supply to get 1500 watts. I'm not advertising for them. I just thought it was like, this is actually not that bad of a deal. But I do think it's funny that they're using this image showing their airflow. I think it was Gamers Nexus that talked about how dreadful their case design was and how it had no airflow. So now they're showing everybody, look, it's our redesigned high airflow case.
So and they don't even have airflow going up the top. Well, a little bit, but not much.
Well, it doesn't really make any sense because it shows the AIO on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's suspicious.
Of course, the real AMD story this week isn't anything on AM5 or with multiple 3D V caches. How about one? Pricey. The way it was always meant to be.
Yes.
The perfect processor for today. AMD is bringing back the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D to save the world from DDR5. The 10th anniversary edition.
AM4.
This is one... Yes. Yeah, that's only a 2-year-old, 3-year-old processor. But AM4 is 10 years old this year. And to celebrate, according to this one Chinese language slide, they have the return of the 5800X 3D.
But will they sell it in a walnut box?
I don't care how they package it. Just bring it back so that gamers
and don't
around
charge
the world...
a huge amount of money. Yeah.
Well, it's $449 is the SEP, which was the SEP of the original part. And I know it was selling for less before it disappeared forever, but now used ones are over 500. So this is what we need.
I'm proud to say I'm still podcasting from a 5800X, not a 3D, but a 5800X.
Well, the XT is like $200, and it's still a great processor.
It's been great.
Mm-hmm. It's not the king of AM4 gaming, Josh.
Can you wait a second, and I'll show you the king.
I'm not sure what he's going to do. I'm never sure what he's going to do.
Just keep your pants on. Oh, boy.
Oh. I don't want to say what he just did because for audio listeners, they might swerve into a tree.
Okay. He was caressing the back of his head for those of you just listening.
I was going to say he was... Never mind.
I have tested this all but once. Yes, it's the Ryzen 7 50-year anniversary. It's the
that one.
The Ryzen 7 2700X.
Ah, yes.
8 core, 16 thread, 4.3 max boost. Discrete graphics card required. Yep. And if the little thing in here for a t-shirt that you could send in and get for free.
Right. Oh, their boxes were great back in the day. Because, I mean, now this is what you get. Right? That is not.
Okay. Do I have to prove you wrong yet again?
Sure. What you got now?
Oh, gosh.
Getting his steps in.
You didn't caress his head that time, though.
Thank God.
Another old Ryzen.
Oh. Yeah, which one
The
was that?
Ryzen 7 5800 XT. So this is a newer part, but still same thing, same big box, same big cooler.
Yeah, it came with a cooler. Yeah.
I had the
Josh, I built two Ryzen CPU based PCs this past weekend, and both of them look like Jeremy's. I built a 7800 X3D and a 9800 X3D. They both look like Jeremy's.
The AM5 ones, yeah, they're like that. Yeah. But the AM4s are still the big box.
Oh, that was nice.
Box.
Oh yeah, there you go. Where's the wheel package for that? Does that come with a set of wheels or something? Nobody can hear him anymore.
No.
Nobody can hear.
And then the Intel fanboy.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got my dodecahedron box.
I still have one of those unopened.
Is Rocky still? Was Rocky in there?
Yes.
Amaze.
I have an unopened dodecahedron. It's probably worth $1 more.
Though. It's collectible. Jeremy, we can't hear you.
Nothing.
The next generation after those Threadrippers, remember it came in the box this big? Because his is like this, but then they had this, and I don't know why they were just so large, but the packaging was insane.
Yeah. Big packages, they are really
big packages, really useless. Kind of like...
Yeah.
Us.
I don't know. Jeremy has disappeared. But let's talk about something else. It's kind of a blast from the past. The return of the GeForce RTX 3060 12 gigabyte version. It's coming in June.
We could have predicted this, really. We've been
talking about this off and on for months. And then we talked about that 9 gigabyte version of the RTX 5050. That might be on hold.
Yeah.
Because that would need expensive GDDR7.
Yeah, the process node for the 3060 is totally different. It's on a Samsung 8, I think.
Yeah, their custom 8.
Yeah. Versus 4 or 5? 5, I think it was.
Yep, TSMC 5.
Yeah, and so there's clearly a reason here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go again. Let's look at the back of his head one more time.
It's not what Rudy was going to show us.
I'm very concerned whenever he gets up.
Closet of stuff.
Brett knows that one day one of us is going to get old enough to have dementia, and we're just going to not wear pants on a show and stand up.
Wait,
you missed that.
That's going to be Josh.
It's not be the first thing.
Yeah. It's been done.
So you remember this, and then you zoomed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's the 3060 12 gig from Asus that it's almost at 100,000 views on the video review.
It's becoming,
and it's coming back.
Josh, they're making
again.
We're going to have a huge influx of views for that review again.
That is correct.
We live in strange times. Mm-hmm. Strange.
Yes.
A bit.
And obviously, I need to sell these things off far sooner than I ever did. They just gather dust. And I guess that whole ethical thing about not selling review samples is just biting me because think about all the money my wife could have spent.
You might as well just keep the GPU.
Everything has a price, and at this point, I think you might have hit it.
You're going to have to do some testing with modern games on the 3060 12 gig anyway. We might as well have one.
Do a follow-up, and we'll link back to the old review.
How has it evolved?
Aged. Now that you can buy them new again, where do we stand?
Right.
It's like Battlestar Galactica. What is old is new again. Except it makes less sense.
A lot less sense.
Yeah, anyway.
And Cylons were hot for some reason. It was...
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the current state of the PC hardware business. And here's a story from Tom's Hardware. Every SK hynix employee could receive $477,000 bonuses this year. Yes. Almost $900,000 next year. How is this real? 35,000 workers set to benefit from share of $169 billion projected operating profit.
Well, it's projected.
First off, no self-respecting CEO would give a bonus that big to anyone but themselves.
Okay, is that
they're just
in
like,
US
what do we do with the money?
or won? Oh no, it's 700 million.
$700 million
won.
versus.
Wow,
700 million won.
Which
Why
is
didn't I-
$477,000, Josh. Yeah.
you know who's really bummed about this? Alan.
All of us?
It's like we can't even comprehend numbers this big and how much, it boggles the mind. Think about
Boggles.
this much money. Boggles. Yeah. Yeah. Check that off on the old bingo board. 250 trillion was also in that article, by the way.
The janitor at SK Hynix next year will be driving to work in his new Lamborghini Rialto.
Paid off. One
Yes.
payment.
Meanwhile, in memory news, from videocards.com, DDR5 HUDIMMs simulation with Asus BIOS shows nearly 50% bandwidth loss. Well, that makes sense considering it's only one 32-bit channel versus two
Yeah, it makes total
32-bit
sense.
channels, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they plugged in a BIOS that would potentially allow people to buy the size of the memory they're looking for, 16, 32, whatever, 64 gig, in order to get them to that number that they know would sell to people, but they're looking to price reduce it. Like, what can we do to reduce the price on this? Oh, we know. Let's just reduce one of the 32-bit subchannels to just only having one instead of two, right? Am I right? And next phrase is profit. So half the amount of available channel or sub-channel bandwidth available, but it gets you to that 32 gig number or 16 gig or 64 gig.
Do you remember the days
Not by
of
HUDIMMs.
like the consumer market GeForce cards, and you never knew whether you were getting 128-bit
Yes.
or 64-bit. They would never tell you on the
The
box.
fast mem, the slow mem. Yeah.
It's like, it's got this much memory, but
that's a
64
by
megs.
4 card. Oh wait, that's a by 8 card. Oh, that's a by 16 card. Remember that too?
Oh, did you not notice that one difference on the serial number on the back,
Right.
printed in 1-point font?
Yeah, you need to look at the PCIe card and count the number of gold fingers that are on there to go, oh, that's a by 8 card.
Hopefully it's not the same price. Oh, wait, it probably will be.
It probably will be. So this is a warning. Do not fall for this if it's out there, if it eventually comes to being. And it might.
Well, things were better in the old days. The 1990s were an exciting time because there was just so many innovations constantly happening. That's when this PC hardware reviewing thing first started, because every week there was some innovation or product release. Let's go back to those times. Thermaltake will help you with their Retro 360 TG. It's retro on the front. You can see here the 5.25-inch bays, the fake floppy drive. But around the side,
So retro.
it's tempered glass. So you want to show off that modern rig, but then for some reason from the front, although honestly, this is a good looking case. Regardless, I like this vent on the side here.
You like the mullet?
Is ventilated.
Yeah,
I
that
kinda
looks like
do.
an actual floppy disk in the drive on that one picture there, by the way.
It does, and it's lies. It's all lies. In fact, you can pop out the 5.25 fascia and put in a modern LCD display that gives you real time info on your system. Yeah, it's
How terribly modern.
In 1996, we would have thought that was super cool. Like, I could put an LCD screen in my computer.
yes. Now it's
In 1996, what's an LCD screen?
Yeah.
fair.
At some point, we got to throw up the pictures that I dropped
that
on the
was your
staff channel.
clock.
One of my builds for this weekend.
Okay, hold on.
Still want the turbo button.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to pay Silverstone's price. Although, if you Google this, if you do Google the price of it, there is nowhere you can get it for sale in North America, but Google does come up with the price of $999,999. So it does cost a little more than a Silverstone retro.
Thank
case.
you, Google
Maybe.
AI, for that.
Yes,
It's
please.
80 pound overseas, so
Oh, okay.
expect about 120.
So Brett showing off his builds of the day. What case is this? Is this Thermaltake or height?
That's a height. That's a height Y60 without the glass side panel. I've yet to do the peel on the glass, and that is the GPU that was gifted to us by the enthusiastic subscriber. Yep.
Oh,
So I
nice.
finally did the build in that. That is a height Y. That is a height thick 240 cooler.
Thick.
It is damn thick.
I wish they'd give you
It's
the
got
white
honking
sleeves for
cooler.
this.
Yeah, I know. It is so
I've looked
thick.
into aftermarket white sleeves because for those white builds, I'm like, it just stands out. What are you going to do?
it kind of does.
Anything else?
But that's an LED or LCD screen, I should say. It lights up, looks pretty good, works pretty well. 9800 X3D, 32 gig, pair of a 4 gig and a 2 gig drive. I went with 4 instead of 5 for the cost savings. But am I really going to notice between 4 and 5?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
So that's it with
I
some
like
of
how
the
it's got a nice
LEDs.
entrance room for your parts at the very front there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Brett,
I haven't,
you
like I
won't
said, I haven't done the
notice.
peel yet.
Brett, you won't notice, but you'll swear that you do, and it'll eat at you.
I won't see it, I promise.
Yes,
so far,
Edmund Smith, that's exactly what I thought. It's a bloody 2012 cell phone glued to the water block.
yeah, it looks very, very much like an iPhone. In fact, I wasn't the first person to actually mention, and neither were you. They was like, "Oh, that's the original way. You put an iPhone in there?" Or you're like,
That would be cool.
Yeah,
it kinda is.
it's unanimous in the chat that
You can throw stats up on it and GIFs and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm just playing around with it right now. It's kind of neat. It's all right. It's showy. It's designed to be the background when I move into the studio area. It's going to be the machine I have background. I'm going to play games on it, of course. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a showy piece.
I mean, isn't putting an iPhone what Apple just did into a computer what Apple just did with the MacBook Neo?
Essentially, except mine still has a screen, so mine's better.
Wait, the Neo has a screen? Never
Hey,
mind.
weirdly enough, I just looked at the Height website, and it's like all out of stock. It's like Height pulled out of the U.S. market, or they're not selling stuff here anymore. So it's kind of like a tough thing to put together to say, yeah, go buy this Height this or Height that. I'm like, you can't
don't
even get it
hype the
anymore.
height.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
hype the
during
height,
the-
don't hype the height.
So I
During the
do have some
tariffs-
plans. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, during the tariffs, one of the Gamers Nexus expose videos that was, 2 hours long or whatever, he went to visit Height, and they actually showed their production spreadsheet where they were showing their costs and what the tariffs were charging them and what they would have to sell the cases for to make a profit. And they had to stop bringing stuff in. And this was after the original batch of
Yeah, I heard that
cuts
too.
on the tariffs. So now that all of that has been hopefully, probably not fixed, maybe we'll see them come back.
Maybe, but so far everything's out of stock. Sebastian, that is a Sapphire 9070 OC pure. And I'm going to see if I'm going to do some benchmarking on it and then put the 9070 XT BIOS on it just to kind of put some
You can
numbers
you can
down
do that now.
and see.
Yeah.
To just show
It should
people. Go ahead and do
I
it.
guess it's like 5% behind a 9070 XT.
It's actually supposed to be. It's pretty good. It boosts the clocks. You don't get the extra bandwidth, of course, but it does.
Yeah, but you
some
get
clock
the
boost,
extra
you can handle
power.
the heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
power and clocks. Yep.
I did that back in the day with the 6950, and it definitely works, but it does shorten the lifespan of the card a bit. I don't know
I'll
why.
keep it cool.
I was looking through the notes, and something seemed missing. Something near and dear to your heart.
I know.
There's a shakeup at the top end of Apple.
I plan on
sure
mentioning
is.
it. I plan on mentioning it at number 7.
Was it going to be your pick of the week?
No,
Sebastian, you got a pick of the week. The new
Brett
the new,
picks himself
don't be
as the
silly.
new CEO of Apple.
Tim Apple is gone, and new guy is.
Tim
It's almost like Tim Cook had a
self-selected.
15-year contract or something, but So he's out. Here's the Google result for that. After 15 years, Tim Cook will step down. And John Turnus, not to be confused with Jim Tanis, current SVP of hardware engineering, will take over September 1st.
I'm looking forward to a hardware guy being in charge. Honestly, I really am.
Well, Tim was all about
supply chain management.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so we've got another guy who's kind of supply chain management and some engineering as well. So yeah, it's no Johnny Ive to become CEO.
John did work with Steve Jobs. He did make a mention that he was around in that era, so he's been there a while. Hopefully, he'll be okay.
Yes, Steve didn't think he was a bozo because he kept him around.
True. Or he just put up the abuse and stayed because the money was just so good.
Scott Forstall was the chosen one, and he got into a fight. Well, yes. Tim had to choose basically between him and Johnny Ive, and Johnny Ive was the golden boy at the time because they literally got to the point where it's like he goes or I go. Mm-hmm. And Scott also famously refused to take the blame for Apple Maps when iOS 6 launched, and that was a disaster because it wasn't just him, but
you notice a dramatic
to
change.
Publicly apologize, and he said no.
Did you note the dramatic change to all the iconography and UI elements after Scott left?
Yeah, it was very dramatic because Tim gave UI design and UX to Johnny Ive in the design department. So he went, everything became totally flat with minimalist, no noticeable just sort of navigation buttons.
Glassy
anymore.
Sheen that you could barely discern against the background.
I would still take iOS 7 and its flat design with its tiny Helvetica Neue whatever light font over iOS 26 and Heartbeat.
You don't like
Craig does not need to be leading
get used to it.
macOS either. Get them out of here. Bring Scott Forstall back. What is he doing now? Just producing plays, living off of his severance money and NDAs and whatever else happened. All right, let's talk about something less controversial. That's the right word. HEVC licensing. Video codecs are a hot topic. That's what we get together every week. We talk about litigation. And
who's still doing H.264?
Everybody. H.265, HEVC. I'm sorry, but these cost money. They're not open formats.
Whoops.
And they raised the rates by, I don't even remember what it was, something insane. To the point where laptop makers, computer companies are just stripping support from their machines. Apple machines still have it natively. You can use HEVC H265 on your Apple Mac Studio when you export your podcast every week in this room.
And when you look into it, Dell and HP were promised that they wouldn't have to pay the new prices for the licensing. They just have to pay the current ones. Oh. And yet still, every single pro laptop, yoink. No more hardware decode for you.
Yeah, we just go back to DivX.
Damn right. I miss DivX.
But if you don't pay for it,
I never downloaded a sketchy codec for that at all.
You had to pay per play. Did you pay your playback for the day? How many playbacks did you?
Maybe.
Oh, you get 2 plays out of that DivX disc, and then no more.
Yeah. So, if you have it, great. I had to get HEVC support from the Windows Store to have that on Windows 11 or Windows 10. I don't know if 11 has HEVC support built in or not, but then your vendor might not allow it, like Dell and HP.
Or you're doing it in software because you can't do it on the hardware because they didn't pay the fees.
But in theory, if you straight out bought that processor or that graphics card, you did pay the license. So you should be able to do it. But if you bought a pre-built, you might or might not. And that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, which means it's probably a law thing because they don't make any sense generally. So yeah, it's this huge ridiculousness. The EU has straight out told Asus and Acer at the moment they're not allowed to sell laptops because they can't figure out whether they're pro license fee or against the license fee, or if they just don't want to be dealt with at all. And the problem is that it all boils back down to Nokia. Because guess who owns that HVAC codec?
It's probably the only thing they have left that makes money. What?
And so you're going to hold on to that as best you can. Because really, what else are you doing? So yeah, it's annoying. And it brings in the whole patent troll thing. But at the same time, like you said, it's pretty much the only thing Nokia's got left going for them. So you kind of want to... I have fond memories of Nokia back in the day. They did some good stuff. Then they went horribly wrong. Sort of like BlackBerry, who also like owns like one or two patents that they are clawing onto with their dear lives. It's frustrating is the thing. Is it doesn't make any sense to the consumer. And honestly, I don't think it makes much sense to anyone that isn't really, really into this sort of licensing laws. Oh, and it's gone from your NAS systems as well. In case you were enjoying like a Synology that could do native H265.
Of course. Moving on, Tom's Hardware has a story about IPv6. Remember that was this exciting new...
Dude, we're already working on IPv8. And boy, does it look great.
Hold your horses, because IPv4 is still half of all web traffic.
It's true.
But at least IPv6 has caught up. They're at parity now. After 28 years.
It's very close. It's hovering around parity. It's only taken 28 freaking years for this, and it's actually relieved the stress on some of the IPv4 address space. I was surprised to read in some of the cases like when they ran out of IPv4 allocation, and it was some significant number of years ago. Yeah, like 2019.
If it wasn't for NAT, things would be a real mess.
The NAT essentially saved IPv4 at the time. And that's NAT is network address translation, where you can have like one router and bridge essentially translating a single IPv4 address from a public routable address to a series of privately routable addresses behind it. So sort of amplifying the available number of addresses. Mobile kind of blew that out of the water with
yes.
We would have inability to keep up. Apparently, we only had about available based upon the number of masked away private IP spaces. We had about 3.9 billion available IP4 addresses, and those ran out some number of years ago. Amazon tried to monetize it, made some money, but it forced people to start to move to IPv6, meaning that we're not paying for this, address space. We're going to go to another equally routable. We're going to put in the effort and build a networking stack with IPv6, and that actually helped. Probably was one of the drivers of real networking stacks moving over to IPv6, but it's close to 50% of the traffic now, so that's not bad after only 28 years.
You know what would be even better, though?
What? Oh, do tell.
Is if, running into constant issues with things like SharePoint or AWS, that the best solution to deal with weird timeouts and pages refusing to load until eventually they do is disabling IPv6. And suddenly everything works perfectly.
Yeah, that's bad news.
And to make it even better,
I'm sorry, is this a Microsoft product? Is that a Microsoft product?
And Amazon Web Service as well. But yes, it is a Microsoft product for the most part. All of my good friends overseas on the other side of the pond do not have this issue. It's almost like we crapped out on our backbone in North America and didn't plan for the future
IPv6 doesn't, there's no need for IPv6 NAT, okay? So it is point to point. So I bet you have a firewall rule problem. That's my opinion.
There is no firewall. They're inside the house. The call is coming from inside the house.
Yes, get out of the house. It's IPv6. I don't know. Yeah. That's a tough one to diagnose in 4 seconds.
In fact, on our firewall, we disabled IPv6 and it works perfectly from within the office. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Josh has got a pursed look. I wonder if he's run into this.
I think the problem might be that you're in Canada and IPv6 is not bilingual.
That's probably it right now. You're
no, it's metric. So you guys are the ones who shouldn't be able to speak it.
I speak metric.
All right. And
I work on Japanese and German cars. I better speak metric.
You know how many 10mm sockets he's lost?
All of them.
All but one. Oh, wait, that one went.
To close out the news segment, for some reason we're talking about Apple again, but it's the end of an era. macOS 27 officially dropped support for Intel. So even though it's been 6 years since the last gasp of an Intel Mac, I guess there was a 2020 27-inch iMac. That was it.
Tim leaves Apple. Apple dropping support for Intel-based Macs. Coincidence? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Steve would have dropped support years ago.
Oh, that is true. Tim forced us to be held on way too long. So this is the last gasp. I think it's macOS X 26 will be the last release that supports Intel. This is the last gasp for the Hackintosh community, which has such a soft spot in my heart, actually. I built myself a few Hackintoshes in the day, and I still have enough gear here to build one more. I was thinking about building a swan song for the Hackintosh. Maybe I still will.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink with your support kitten.
Yes. In our first story, AES 128 will survive cryptographically relevant quantum computers. Please explain.
How much math do you want? Because this is all
because
math.
Quantum computers still don't especially exist.
Well, a bit of them do.
Oh, okay.
You know, a couple of bits, maybe a handful, 2
qubits.
So, yeah. Shave and haircut. There's been a long-standing rumor that as soon as cryptodynamic quantum relevant computing becomes a thing, all your algorithms will be ours. Like, there will be no more encryption. It just can't exist unless you quantum encrypt it, in which case if anyone looks at it, then it breaks it, so it can never get to where it was supposed to go. And one of the big things was that there are a bunch of people saying that, hey, because of parallelization, you get a bunch of quantum stuff that's running in parallel, and the magic happens, because this is generally how people describe quantum computing. It halves the amount of effort you need to break anything. So AES 128, for instance, becomes AES 64, which is relatively easily breakable at this point with the processing power we've got. The thing is that quantum computers do not work like classical ones. That's sort of the whole thing about them. And so when you're trying to parallelize tasks, very easy to say, does it in a different way because they don't work classically. And there was a person who published it literally called Quantum Computers Are Not a Threat to 128-Bit Symmetric Keys. And it's a huge dive into the math behind it. But what it actually means is that no, because of the algorithms that you would use, specifically Grover's algorithm, to split up the work to be able to break a key, it actually takes about the exact same amount. It works out to the same amount of possible combinations as E128. It does not have it. So you are still 3.4 times 10 to the 38th power number of combinations in E128 or AES128. Quantum computing is not going to be able to magically have that and make it relatively simple to fix. Ours went into sort of a simplified version where if it's like, hey, if there's 256 possible combos, this is how it would work normally if you grab 4 friends and just each tried, 64 combos. One of you is going to come up with it, and it's going to take a quarter of the time that it would for you to do it by yourself. That's not how quantum computing works. And while it is incredibly amazing and powerful in certain applications, if you've trained it right and it actually produces the right output, because much like a lot of LLMs, it's a little magic box that you put stuff in, and wrong stuff comes out until you train it to make the right stuff come out, and then you
if you don't breathe on it wrong, and suddenly it disentangles the qubits, and it suddenly doesn't work anymore. Yeah.
So
quantum
don't worry.
entanglement.
Yes, literally, that's how they run. but that's not classical physics. So we all think classically, and it's not how spooky action and distance works at all. So don't worry. Quantum computing is going to ruin your life, just not by having the complexity of breaking our current encryption algorithms.
Yeah, it's essentially 4 states that it can do at once, that it can see, but it does not actually check all combinations at once. It doesn't work that way. And not only that, but trying to convert quantum type programming to binary is another thing altogether. It's a big software issue as well. So, quantum computer it's like fusion. We're 20 years away every year,
every day.
Yeah.
Let us move. The next story from the Hacker News: self-propagating supply chain worm hijacks NPM packages to steal developer tokens.
Sounds a little deep, but really what's going on here is that someone was able to infiltrate and inject malware into certain lower level packages that NPM will happily go and fetch for you and bring them into your build process. And they're low level Python packages that a lot of system builds or feature builds will tend to rely on to build low level components. And there's a fair number of them. And the malicious package is stealing your Git creds. It's stealing your SSH keys. It's stealing your shell history. It's grabbing database passwords, whatever it can really find. Active sessions for Azure, Google Cloud, Amazon. It's grabbing a lot of stuff. It's grabbing keys to crypto wallets. So it's fairly full featured. One additional thing that we'll do. This is the cool part. I'm using air quotes to talk about this cool part. The cool part here is that it's self-propagating. And what it does is while it's scanning your system for available sessions and credentials, it notices you as a developer. I mean, why are you interacting with NPM packages if you're not you yourself building other packages? It helpfully lifts your active session and credentials for those other packages and replicates its malware payload into those packages. And on and on and on and on and on. So if your package is used in some other person's build, boom, and that person and that person and that person and that person,
and it remains signed just as if you'd updated it yourself,
because you essentially have done it yourself because it is using your own credentials to do so. And it's attacking some fairly well-known packages and continuing to propagate. Unfortunately, they haven't quite shut this one down yet. So I don't know what to say how to go about checking this other than to go read up on what the mods are being made to your Python packages and look out for this sort of thing. It's sad. I'm not even going to declare stop infecting yourself because this is a bad one.
No, this is not.
You don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing pulls, you're doing package pulls, NPMs, syncs, and you expect to get good code.
That's the whole idea. But unfortunately, that makes it a very, very valuable target for the wastes of oxygen that share this planet with us.
Speaking of waste of oxygen.
Yeah, Mariah.
Hey, now, last week, we did give a lot of grief to Colin Prober of TP-Link fame. But we're not talking about TP-Link right now. We're going to talk about D-Link. And D-Link has issues. So the Mirai, if that's how it's pronounced, Mirai botnet targets flaw in discontinued D-Link routers. No longer America's router, by the way. So
this was.
So you're saying they're all discontinued now?
Well, this was routers that were orphaned as late as last year, so it's not like they're terribly old, or are from the early 2000s or mid 2000s. It's like they are no longer being supported as of last year, and they're currently under active exploitation by this botnet, which is going to do all kinds of very, very bad things to you and whoever's on your network. If you have a D-Link router that answers to the product ID of DIR 23X series, you going to want to bin that as quickly as possible. I mean, just go shut it off. And Sebastian, I know that you said that we weren't going to mention TP-Link. We are. The hackers are also targeting TP-Link and ZTE because I fear that, like many people, companies that are building in this space, in this, manufacturing area in China, they're using very similar board layouts and very, very similar, like maybe single board support. So, and firmwares, et cetera, different names.
And you might say, oh, well, I never bought a ZTE router. It's like, yes, but your ISP likes to provide them.
Yeah, and they slap their name on it. That's one of the big
brands that they sling at you without any choice.
So TP-Link and ZTE are potentially vulnerable to this as well, although I didn't get the model numbers for those. Just throw them away. Buy new America's router, which is I believe is Netgear the sanctioned solution. I'm just trying to.
At the moment,
yeah. Wait, was it Netgear or TP-Link? I can't remember now.
That was Netgear.
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 I
misspoke. It wasn't.
Mr. Colin Prober is the CEO of Netgear.
We don't know if that's his first name. However, his last name is Prober.
Apologies to Colin Prober for getting the name of his company wrong. And nothing else. We apologize for nothing else.
Nothing.
Nope. We apologize for nothing else. It's all true.
All right. Moving on to gaming quick hits. And our first story sounds like Osiris Reborn may not be the great news for fans of The Expanse that they were hoping for.
Yeah, because I mean, it's Owlcat who've been knocking it out of the park recently. But there was a closed beta, and RPS, Rock, Paper, Shotgun, got a chance at it. And it's totally Mass Effect in the vast majority of it. You get the over-the-shoulder third person, you got the first primary and secondary guns interface, and the cover-based shooting, and the magic powers that are technical in nature that you get. But it was just a single level, and you got a pre-generated character, so it could just be that. But they were finding that compared to the series, the acting was kind of bland, and just, yes, you are the protagonist. We will just do whatever you want, even if I am a rough and tough belter that doesn't like you. But we'll still just do whatever you want. Betaloda, yeah. So yeah, it may not be great, but it's still early access. This is literally the first closed beta that's ever hit. So maybe they will, flesh it out. On the other hand, they did say it was really pretty, and there was a little bit of the Bethesda Uncanny Valley going with the talking, and everyone's got super white teeth and looks really pretty, but maybe they just had DLS 5 turned on. I don't know.
Could be.
So yeah,
nice throwback.
It could be great, but at this point, they're sort of it's what was that Mass Effect game that you're supposed to hate, Andromeda?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was essentially what it reminded them most of. Was, wow, this was supposed to be great, or it could have been great, and it's a little bland. I'll still eat it, but it's a little bland.
I've only played like 30 minutes of Mass Effect 1, and then that's it. No,
I've never played Mass Effect 1. I did 2 and 3. Which were apparently done in large gaps between, because it was just, okay, I'm forced into a weird cutscene. Okay, now I have to just wander around scanning planets in a mini game. This is fun. But I'd stick with it because a friend of mine really wanted to watch me play it. It was...
Yes, but speaking of epic space games...
Are you trying
I'll tell you, I'll watch you. I'll watch you play a game for $75 an hour.
Okay. Moving to the next rock, paper, shotgun story.
It's going to show us the back of his head in a minute.
Homeworld junkies rejoice. Brilliantly brutal sci-fi strategy sim Nebulous is finally getting its single-player campaign.
Oh my God. Have you tried this, Brett?
I have not. I just first heard of it when you posted
It's
it.
insane. I picked
Tell
it
me
up
more.
a while back, and the tutorial is like, okay, so missiles, you have to plot along a course to be able to hit someone who's hiding behind an asteroid, or you can fire them and hope that your tracking works.
Does it have Newtonian physics?
Yes, and unforgiving Newtonian physics.
Wow, the art direction is absolutely Homeworld.
It sure is.
From the storytelling.
Very Homeworld.
Thankfully, you can pause it at any time to try and give orders, because each of your ships has individual components and a damage control crew. And you've got to continually roll your ship in the hopes that, the shields or the armor that just got smacked is not going to get immediately smacked again. Oh, except now you just exposed your radiator and your comms unit. So now that ship can no longer respond to any communication because it's in a blackout, and it's going to go super critical because the only thing releasing heat just got blowed up. It's unforgiving. It's insane. I want to keep going back to it, but it's one that I'm just going to have to dive into deeply. And they don't just give you a ship. You're usually in a cluster of ships, which have to be within a certain amount of range of each other to be able to, one, communicate effectively, and two, provide overlapping point defense, which is, of course, really, really freaking important. And you're stuck in the Earth's end of a galaxy. So, yeah, you've got missiles, but you don't know if you're going to be resupplied anytime soon. So you got to choose whether you will or not.
Can't see this. It's too big. Homeworld 3. This is a great edition. Haven't even gotten this out yet. This is a.
Did it come in a laser disc?
It's very, very cool. Those things that came in this box. But this is a Homeworld 3 special edition. Going to be putting that on my newly built PC, actually.
So it kind of matches the motif.
It does.
You should see if you can get a Homeworld 3, print out a Homeworld 3 cruiser or two, and
it's
put it in
actually
the front landing.
It's in the box. It's in the box, and it actually lights up.
Put it in the front landing of that PC build.
I could put it inside the PC build.
You literally could, because there's a lot of space right there.
It's about it's fairly sizably.
I think that would fit.
It's big.
Make sure it's not secured to anything, so it can fall over and take out the connection to the graphics card.
No, thank you. Three 8-pins, by the way that God intended.
Moving
yes.
on. Microsoft Xbox mode. It's rolling out to Windows 11 PCs in the Insider Preview. Now, this is kind of their future direction of Xbox. They're shifting away from the console wars, I guess, and they're just going to offer... The next one's going to be more of a PC or something. Who knows what's going to happen, but there's going to be Xbox mode.
Yeah, this is kind of like the thing, isn't it? It's it's more geared towards using a controller than the keyboard and mouse, though.
Yeah,
interesting.
This is for that living room setup. You got your Xbox controller, you got a living room PC. This is how we operate in my household. My wife has a living room PC with an Xbox controller, but she has to have that wireless mouse keyboard combo thing just to log into stuff. No more.
Isn't that weird, switching back and forth? Isn't that awkward?
It is. It's awkward and frustrating. So we have those little Logitech wireless keyboard trackpad things.
Yeah, I have a similar one.
Yeah. Everything else she does.
But I have a significant worry about this. Considering how AMD has forced the game bar upon us in order to be able to run reasonably, please tell me that they're not going to look at Xbox mode and say, hey, that's brilliant.
Xbox mode is required.
I believe they will.
No, please, Lisa.
Just stop using AMD.
Dr. Lisa Sue, you know better than this.
Just join the dark side. Join
Kent
and get yourself a 270K plus. Your Bauer says it's good, and it's 1/3 the price.
Hey, it's now the Winamd, duopoly. Wintel?
No more Wintel.
Wintel, it's Winamd.
Except when it isn't, and they want everybody to use Linux to test their new product because the Windows scheduler just does not.
Yeah, well, that's been a lot easier. Because we didn't mention Framework, but hey, Framework is literally shipping their new laptop 13 Pros with Ubuntu installed and configured for you. That's unique.
I remember when Framework was taunting other PC makers for raising RAM prices.
Yep. Well, now they just do it.
Breaking news: Framework
apologize.
just raised their RAM prices again. Oh, I'm sorry, they just raised their RAM prices again after that one.
But at least they put up a blog post saying that they're sorry.
Mm-hmm. And then they raised the prices again.
That makes everything out better, right?
Yeah, sure it does. Are you unboxing right now live on the podcast?
He's trying to show us his ship. He's going to ship his pants.
Oh, there's a ship in there. That's why the box is so big.
There's a total model in here.
Is it built already?
Yeah.
You have to build it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's essentially assembled. It's got a stand.
You don't even
and
have to put decals on it?
I did put those on.
Decals.
Okay.
I put those on.
Remove the decal.
What is this? Story from XDA developers. Valve's new Linux VRAM fix almost triples frame rates in some games on the 4 gigabyte. Oh yes, the Radeon RX 6500 XT, the card that was going to save us all during mining.
That story again. Valve has now made an affordable video card playable.
All we need is memory compression. We talked about this last week, or maybe it was the week before. Compress your VRAM. It's fast enough. You've got the overhead. Just compress it.
Compress all the things. Yeah.
Drive space. Memory doublers.
Double space. Yeah.
Oh, double space.
Keanu Reeves. Johnny Moronic. Sorry.
Co-starring Squidly.
Anyway. Dr. Alcom.
Yes.
Sorry.
Checking in with Brett again as he admires.
The people who made
Look at the size of that ship. That's one piece of ship.
Isn't it, though?
Is that a speaker on the bottom? Does it make sounds?
It makes sounds.
Oh, that's nice. I don't know why I said it that way. Does it make sounds? Does it have sound and light effects?
It does. It has sound.
That's because you're a Star Trek snob.
I believe the batteries are currently discharged, so we will have to wait.
Okay, that's
soon.
An excuse.
But soon.
But all right.
It's definitely a very nice piece.
Going back to that story,
let's
look at some of these frame rates. Alan Wake 2, 1080 low, FSR2 quality mode. Boosters disabled, about 14 frames per second. Boosters enabled, 41 frames per second. That just went from unplayable to playable. Not every game fared as well. Silent Hill went from 47 to 50. That's not that great. Crimson Desert was flat, 45 and 45, as was Cyberpunk. But in some instances, like Alan Wake 2, it's really impressive. So it's not great, but it does. I'm guessing that Alan Wake 2 might have been so extreme because it absolutely requires more than 4 gigabytes of frame buffer, even at 1080 low. Maybe that's why it jumped up so high. Not sure.
6500 is not great at ray tracing and lighting.
You don't say.
So, Brett, are you going to throw that at your wife when she's sleeping and yell, "I just shipped my bed"?
No. I like the model. I'm not gonna toss it.
Let's move to picks of the week. Josh, please get us started.
All right. So, unlike everything else except sim hardware and AMD graphics, everything's going up higher in price. AMD graphics, they originally went up and then they just stayed there. And not only that, but you can get this Sapphire 9070 XT with a 750 watt, 80 plus gold power supply and Crimson Desert while supplies last for $800. So that's a good 150 off everything in the end. So, it's a really solid card. A friend of mine's got one. Works well. It's got the 12 volt, Yeah, but unlike NVIDIA stuff, this pulls maybe 350 watts and less.
Really?
So it's not like exploding cards. There have been a couple due to some bad connections, but it's not like a 5090 where, you have a higher percentage that just suddenly released the magic smoke.
My Sapphire 9070 had 3/8, Josh, like I was saying, the way it was meant to be.
Yes.
Jeremy, do you have a pick this week?
In a totally unrelated pick to Josh's, I don't actually know this brand, but I was desperate for a pick, and so I had to get one. Thank you, Colleen. And this Canadian pricing is actually a really, really good build. A Ryzen 7 7800X3D, a 9070 XT, 32 gigs of unobtainium, 2 terabyte M.2 SSD, and Crimson Desert with purchase. Currently $1,200 off for $2,500. I know that 97 XT is about half of that cost right there. And this is all together. I mean, it's got a single stick of RAM, which is annoying, but not horrific as it used to be. And it's apparently a Canadian company, Asa. You've got to shop around right now to try and find anything. And it's not too bloody bad. This would get you up in gaming at an obscene cost, because that's what everything is right now. But at $3,700, no way in hell. $2,500, and something horrific has happened to your gaming PC, and you need to start from scratch. It's not that bad, and I hate to say it. I really do hate to say it, because it shouldn't cost that much. And yeah, if you paid for the tariffs down south, you'd get that at a really good deal.
Yeah, $1,800 US equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm just saying that for what the world is today, that's a pretty decent deal. And you get an $80 game with it too.
Yeah, AMD seems to be giving away that game with everything.
Apparently a good game. Haven't played it yet. Looks good. Yeah.
Yes.
Biscuits and mustard.
Brett, your pick this week. Oh,
My pick this week. Looking around for a fast pick because I really couldn't come up with something, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go to the old standby. Let's see what's on sale from the correct size of monitors, and that's a 34-inch curved display at least 144 hertz at 3440 by 1440 resolution. And here we have a reasonably priced refurbished Dell at Woot. Dell actually makes some fairly good monitors. This is a refurb for less than $300. $289.99, 144 hertz. Of course, the 21 by 9, 3440 by 1440 aspect. Pretty reasonably priced for what you get. 400 nit, not the brightest, but it's fine for sitting in front of it and playing games. It's a little chonky, from a visual perspective. So it's like a generation or two old. But step away from the 1080p monitor and get into big boy gaming, at least with the 3440 by 1440 display at 34 inches wide. You'll thank yourself. You owe it to yourself. Do it. That's all I have.
Kent, do you have a completely unique pick for us this week?
Oh, I'm following a trend this week, but this trend can be followed in the United States if you happen to live near one of the mini micro centers.
There it is.
Yep. 9800X3D, 32 gigs of RAM, 5070 Ti, 2 terabyte NVMe SSD, $2299.99. Pre-built. It's an Acer Nitro. case has pretty decent airflow. Yeah. I mean, that's not really a bad price for that system in non-apocalyptic times. And it's a really very decent price right now. So
you're saying you can buy it, strip it for parts, and then sell it at a profit?
Yes.
The Harbinger,
if you happen to need a gaming computer for your new 3440 by 1400 monitor that you just bought from Woot, 1440, yeah. It's been a while. I've been on 4K for a long time now.
Ultraride is a nice experience, but I just wanted to remind everybody that you will know you're in the apocalypse when AES 128 is broken. That is when we're in the apocalypse. You'll know it.
Oh yeah.
See previous stories.
Speaking of previous stories, my pick this week, very briefly, is an update to last week's pick, and I have to say, after getting my shipment from Unfinished, which is missing the I, and
see, this serves you right from buying from Finns instead of Swedes.
Yeah, they're missing both the eyes. I don't know what's up with that, but it's
is that a Citroen car parked out in front?
Probably.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Kind of looks like it. Yeah.
So the picture right here, this is the problem. This thing right here, front and center, because their shelf that I got, rock solid, went together really fast, great. The little end tables my wife wanted are okay. They're a little tippy, but they're okay. This thing is a piece of junk. I'm going to have to engineer my own method of putting it together so it won't just like tip over and drop my TV on the floor. So
horrible. What happened? What's the deal?
It just they're like toolless 2-minute assembly for everything. And for these, there's just not enough friction to hold the pieces together. They like slide into each other like this. Yeah. And then the whole table just wobbles back and forth.
You got some like
the shelf was not like pins. That. Yeah, I need to do.
You
like
need to engorge the wood.
Yeah.
What do you expect from furniture designed by people missing both their eyes?
That's true. Say, that was. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? If you want a shelf, this thing called Modern Shelf that they sell is great. Like it went together really quickly, but it was like instantly you could tell you could pick it up by just, one side of it and move it around. It wasn't wobbly at all. You can put a bunch of weight on it. They show like books and records on these things, and it does hold a lot of weight. But the TV stand,
I'm not looking for a TV stand, but I am looking for a bookshelf.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I was gonna put my big heavy TV on it, and like, when it moves like this, I don't know if I trust it.
There's some recommendations that I have to agree with in the chat regarding pocket screws, which it's a way to drill them so that they're angled and kind of recessed into the backside so you don't see them.
Yes, I will look into that. My concern is that it just needs more material. I think it needs additional like 1x2s behind certain parts, and then I need to like put little corner braces
and maybe glue it together when you're done.
Yeah. My wife already said that. She's like, just put some wet glue in it. I'm like, one of the problems is there's big gaps. So like, I don't know if you can glue the air gaps.
Carpenter's glue will fill gaps, but not big ones.
There's a limit.
That's why they've all got cracks when they bend over.
Like you.
I don't even bend over.
That is unfortunately confirmed.
Bend over.
Confirmed on this very show. And on that note,
confirmed.
On that note, we're going to cue up the YouTube library music.
Music is swelling.
By the Fireplace, I believe it's called. And we're just going to cruise into that slower paced portion of the show where we're just all saying our goodbyes to one another and perhaps to that last bit of innocence that was left before the beginning of this program. And now all is truly lost. All hope, all self-respect, and everything we had in our glasses is also gone now.
You started out with self-respect.
I refilled mine.
Okay, so he was smart. So
Yeah, but you do realize that Jordan still probably has that screen grab of me as his mouse pad.
Yeah, but he also has a daybed, so
That's true.